guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a long time, but I'm back with a story time for you guys. I hope your guys' New Year's and Christmas were great. So this actually happened to me very recently. As you can see from the title, I submitted a false police report, I guess you could say. So right now I'm in college and I commute to school. I made a big mistake. Let's get right into it. So there's a day I drove to school and I parked, but the thing was I was hanging out with one of my friends from school, and then she had to go meet with a counselor, an advisor for her classes, and then like we parted ways and I went to my car, and so I go to school in the city, and the parking is very complicated because there's certain days where you can't park in a certain area. Some areas you can only be parked there for an hour or 2 hours depending. You have to keep your eyes out for that or else you will get a ticket. So the day that I went, I parked by these like off-campus housing, and they all look exactly the same. The only way you can differentiate where you park is by looking at the streets or getting your phone and like pinning your location. That way you know where you parked your car. So the street I parked on was super long, and on both sides of the street they had identical like housing for the students. And I was approaching the street where my car was, and I didn't see my car, and I kept walking up the street to see if I like accidentally thought that I was parked on that street, and I went to go check the other street, and I'm like, no, there's no way. I know I parked on this street. So I walked a little bit like down the street and couldn't see my car. I didn't know where it was. I thought I parked it in a certain spot, and it wasn't there anymore, so I started panicking. But the first thing I did was I called my dad and I told him that my car got stolen, and he was like, where did you park? What happened? And I was like, well, I left it here and now it's not here. So what he told me to do was call the police and file a report. And I did. I called the police, I filed a report, a police officer came, and they asked me like a bunch of questions. They asked me for my ID, what the description of the car, and he's like, do you know your license plate number? And I'm like, no, I know it has a MD something. I do not have my license plate number memorized. So he's like, okay, well, we're gonna file a report. If it gets found, we're gonna keep it in our facility for, I think he said, it wasn't even that long. I think he said like 3 hours. No, not even. I think he said like an hour or 2 hours. They would keep the car there. And if I wasn't there by the 2 hour mark, they would like tow my car to like a towing place, and I'd have to pay the fee to get my car out, even though like my car was stolen. So anyways, the police came. Okay, yeah, I called my dad, I called the police officer came, he gave me like a report paper, and then he left. And then my friend who I was with earlier, she came, and then she was like comforting me because I was crying. I didn't know what to do. And then I called my boyfriend, I called Julio, and he was working, and he rushed out of work to find me. He finally got to where I was, and then my dad called me back, and he was like, wait there, I'll go get you since you don't have a ride home. And I was like, no, it's fine, Julio's here, he can take me home, he just left work to come get me. And he's like, okay. So yeah, that was like the end of the conversation about it with my dad at that point. And then after that, we were just like talking about, we were just gonna wait and see what happens, because like there wasn't really anything I could do. I just had to wait and see what happened to my car. So my friend that I was with, we said goodbye to her, and then me and Julio left. So we got in the car and then we started driving away. As we're driving away, I tap Julio on the shoulder because I noticed something. A little further down the street, that looks identical to where I thought I parked my car was my freaking car. I forgot where I had parked it. I thought I parked it a lot closer to campus than I actually did. It was the exact same like look of housing as it was where my car was actually parked. So yeah, that was not a good day. Once Julio saw that my car was not stolen and was right there parked where I apparently parked it, he was so mad because he had to leave work to come get me, and I felt horrible. I didn't know what to do, and I was like, I'll give you money to make up for it, to make up for your missed day. I'm so sorry. Like, I actually thought that I parked it over there, not over here. So I was gonna get in my car, and then Julio was like, no, you can't just leave. Your car's reported stolen. If you get pulled over, they're gonna think you stole your own car. And I was like, oh my God. So I had to call the police department back like a dumbass. I was just with Officer Ramirez. I thought I lost my car. I thought my car got stolen, but I actually just forgot where I parked it. And there was a lady, and she's like, okay, let me transfer you. And I was like, okay. So they transferred me, and I had to repeat what I just said, like already embarrassed, to somebody else. And they're like, okay, well, let me let Officer Ramirez know, and he's gonna give you a call. And I was like, okay. So I was waiting there. Julio was so mad, he didn't want to talk to me. And then I was just waiting. And then I finally got a call from like a block number, but I assumed it was the cop. So I answered, I was like, hello. And then they're like, hi, is this Nicole? And I was like, yeah, this is me. Is this Officer Ramirez? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I thought that my car got stolen. I don't remember parking it where I did. I thought I parked it closer to campus than I actually did. It was a little further down the street. And then he was like, no, it's okay. The thing is that I have to go down there and you have to sign a paper saying that we found your car and your car is good. I have to check it out. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So we hang up. And then he calls me back and he was like, Nicole, you're not on the registration, just your dad is. And I was like, okay. And he's like, so you're gonna have to have your dad come down to the city and have him sign the paper to release the car to you. And I was like, Jesus, why? So my dad, he works 40 minutes from the city, so I had to call him. And I was like, Dad, since the registration is only under your name, I need you to come down to the city. I found my car. I forgot where I parked it. I called the cop already. And you need to sign a paper releasing it to me because I'm not on the registration. So he had to leave work and drive to the city just to sign a paper. And then the cop was like, this happens a lot. And I was like, okay, that makes me feel a little better. And he's like, it was my fault. I should have like looked around the street to see if it was there. I shouldn't have just like driven away. And I was like, well, I'm sorry because I actually thought I parked it closer than I did. And he was like, no, it's fine. And I was like, okay, but I felt horrible. But yeah, that was like probably the most embarrassing thing that has happened to me so far. To calling back a police department being like, sorry, I thought I got my car stolen, but I just forgot where I parked it. Yeah, so that actually happened November. Was it November? November, October. If you guys aren't sure of where you parked or do not pay attention to when you park the car, get out of the car and walk away, pin your location on your phone, because that is what I do now to make sure that I remember where I park my car. Because let's say I actually do get my car stolen and I call Julio again, I call my dad again, they're gonna be like, are you sure? Are you sure? So yeah, just make sure you know where you park, remember where you park, because you don't want to be in my shoes, because that was so embarrassing. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here and share a story time, because I know it's been a while. I haven't shared one in a while. 2018's here. It's finally here. And this is the year that I'm hoping I can grow my channel even more. I'm going to be on top of it. I'm going to have new content out for you guys. So I'm super excited about that. But yeah, if you guys liked this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And as I always say, I'll be back with more videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.